It's fair to say that with most people in the world, age brings wisdom, lessons learned, and better habits formed. Yet, for the old soul INFJ personality type, this age-related evolution comes with a sense of longed-for fulfillment later in life. Through years of unique challenges and difficulties, the INFJ learns lessons that others seem to easily avoid. Welcome or welcome back, psychos. Before we get into it, we'd love it if you liked and subscribed to our channel, as well as to click the post notification bell so you never miss a video. Alright, let's get right into it, starting with Number 1. Life becomes less and less stressful. The first and often the most noticeable aspect of INFJ evolution over the years comes through their contentment for life itself. The INFJ's satisfaction for life is often one of their main challenges over their younger years. With so much pressure placed on themselves to fulfill their purpose in life, this self-critical personality type actually dedicates more time to rumination and being hard on themselves mentally in comparison to simply enjoying their achievements. Unfortunately, this mental game contributes to the INFJ's dissatisfaction, putting them in a cycle of never quite feeling at ease. Luckily, as time goes on, INFJs become less critical of themselves. They stop placing so much importance on the non-important things and instead resort to enjoying life for what it is. As the decades go on, they slowly learn just how necessary it is to relish in the moment, but it doesn't come easy. In fact, with such future-focused thinking, in their younger years, it's much more difficult for the INFJ to stop questioning what's to come. However, once they reach a certain age, they stop placing their idealistic expectations on their future, making everything much more enjoyable. Which brings us to Number 2. Their philosophical understandings are put into perspective. INFJs love philosophical concepts of what life is truly about. From a young age, not only does this pondering type begin to question the meaning of life, but they also find themselves observing people of all ages with the hopes of finding answers. Observing over time leads to conclusions about the carefree attitude that comes with youth and the deeper cherishing of life itself that comes through those who have reached an older age. With this knowledge, INFJs tend to resort back to the sense of beauty and passion for life that they've felt through older generations before them through their time. However, when the INFJ eventually reaches an older age themselves, this idea is put into perspective. Once the INFJ has experienced love, loss, and everything else that makes life so beautiful and simultaneously miserable, their philosophical understandings are put into motion. In fact, it's when they've come to a place where they feel as if they've answered some of their most daunting life questions that their existence becomes a lot less pressured. Number 3. Socialization becomes less daunting. While it may be hard to believe for some INFJs who still find themselves dreading their next social event or plans with friends, another noticeable aspect of the INFJ evolution is that socializing becomes much more tolerable. One obvious reason for this change in perspective is that at a certain point in time, this personality type finalizes the required qualities of those they prefer to keep in their lives. They don't tolerate fakery, egotism, or negativity as they once did in their youth, and with that, they become a whole lot less apologetic when it comes to setting the necessary boundaries around their energy. So, in that regard, socializing is no longer solely out of obligation, but rather is made up of moments they share with those they genuinely relate to in some regard. Yet, aside from being more careful with who they pick and choose to be in their social circle, the INFJ stops taking enjoyable social circumstances so seriously. They learn how to have fun, rather than become consumed in observing crowds and trying to read people. In an effort to not feel so drained in the end, INFJs learn what it's like to just show up, mingle, and go home, with no strings attached. something that seems all too unrealistic to the younger INFJ. Number 4. They learn to merge their individualization with society. Speaking of the INFJ's slow but necessary befriending of socialization, INFJ evolution provides a much deeper shift that eventually sets their minds free. You see, when the INFJ first begins to learn their moral and cognitive differences from the rest of the world, it flicks a switch inside their minds. This switch takes them from having a fun-loving, childlike outlook on the world to having a dark and tainted idea of what really makes the world go round. It sparks a deeper curiosity that drives them to slowly but surely educate themselves about the dark truths of humanity. They learn the things they can't unlearn, and despite the damage done, can't help but to learn more. They grow a bitter attitude towards life itself and can even become overwhelmed by how little power they have to fix all of the world's misfortunes. This is what contributes to the INFJ's disinterest in societal norms and expectations, ultimately propelling them towards their outsider persona. Throughout the years, this distrust of the world around them causes them to only rely on themselves, making it extremely uncomfortable to participate in society by any means. However, over the years, INFJs begin to realize that society is filled with both good and evil. They realize that they can be independent and still use the external world to improve their lives. They become less scared of the idea of becoming a part of society and actually start to understand the importance of community. Number 5. They feel more energetic. They say a decline in energy and endurance is a normal part of aging. But for the INFJ, it's actually the opposite. Sure, they may get the sore joints, the grey hairs, and may even require a nap here and there. For the most part, however, an INFJ's vitality only becomes more and more vibrant. So, how could this be? Well, for this extroverted feeler type, before they understand the importance of setting boundaries around their energy, they become used to lending their precious life force out to anyone and everyone. Throughout their adolescence and young adulthood, it's not uncommon for this personality type to be depleted of their own energy without even realizing it. They become so accustomed to running on half full that once they learn to protect this inner fire within them, it can feel as if they're experiencing a whole new sense of self. Once the INFJ reaches this stage of maturity, the energy and motivation they have for life may even feel foreign until they get the hang of it. By putting themselves first above all and learning to be selfish in the best ways, the INFJ's later years become all the more enjoyable. Number 6. They begin to feel younger. In relation to the energetic aspect of the INFJ's evolution, it's a running theme amongst people with this personality type to actually feel much younger than they are in their older age. Ironically, when this old soul type is in their younger years, they tend to feel more mature than their peers. They're known for being wise beyond their years, and because of that, they often have difficulties relating to those in their age group. By the time they reach their 30s and 40s, it's said that the INFJ begins to feel right at home. Wise, yet still naive, these years resonate with them, allowing them to have the relatable conversations and meaningful connections they craved in their young adulthood. By the time the INFJ approaches their late adult or elderly years, they tend to feel and even look much younger than their peers. In addition to the newfound vigor that comes with older age for this type, their inner child is experienced in a whole new light. They're pulled to experience their youthfulness in a way they weren't able to in their younger years. And lastly, number 7, their cognitive functions become more balanced. In the end, the best part of the INFJ evolution comes in the form of gaining the ability to finally utilize their cognitive functions in the best ways. Although this type is notorious for feeling challenged in life due to their unique makeup, their cognitive functions themselves aren't entirely to blame. In fact, it's all in the way they're utilized in their early years that makes things so difficult. Over the years of trial and error, INFJs develop each function in their own way, ultimately creating the necessary subconscious patterns that allow them to use them simultaneously, with each function relying on the next and eventually joining forces with one another. An evolved INFJ learns how to follow their intuitive hunches and thinking patterns, while at the same time utilizing the external functions properly. They stop relying too much on their internal world and learn to ground themselves. Well, psychos, that's it for today. So, let us know in the comments below where you're at within this evolution as an INFJ personality type. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a video.